A father's pain after the death of his 5-year-old son in a Picton truck accident. Tonight, incredible family strength to honour Harrison, the cheeky little boy who loved an adventure. Refused bail, police point to an alleged history of road rage with the Greenacre crash driver. Remarkable survival stories, a baby pulled out alive and the man who jumped before impact in that Pakistan jet crash. The $60 billion dilemma, spend or save, pressure on the government to expand the JobKeeper program. Towed into 20-footers, these surfers taking on Sydney's huge swells and drawing a crowd. And Cody Walker sidelined, but James Roberts lifts the Bunny's spirits ahead of a showdown against the Roosters.
Live from Sydney, 7 News with Michael Usher.
Good evening. A Sydney father is tonight trying to forgive himself and incredibly speaking out about what has undoubtedly been the worst day of his life. Doug Sproul was parking his truck for the night with no idea his 5-year-old son Harrison was behind him. The impact was fatal. Today, his devastated dad remembered a cheeky, adventurous boy comforted by his other children who are telling him not to blame himself.
At the family dinner table, despair. Doug Sproul, his daughter Claire and son Max sit together. In front of them, photos of their little Harry.
Very happy, a little mischievous. He was very outdoors, loved his horse. He loved his brothers and sister.
He also loved trucks.
He used to come with me a lot in the truck. He loved it. He loved it.
Harrison was growing up fast and he had a bright future ahead.
He started school this year. He loved going to school. He absolutely loved it.
He called a big school.
Just after 5 p.m. yesterday, Harrison was killed in an accident at the family trucking yard in Picton. The 5-year-old was pinned between two trucks. His father was behind the wheel of one of them.
Sorry, that's all I can say.
You don't have to be sorry, it was an accident.
I fix problems every day, but I couldn't fix this one.
It's horrific enough that Doug Sproul has lost his youngest child, but to add to Doug's pain, he blames himself for Harrison's death.
That's my job, to protect him, and I failed on this one.
You didn't fail.
The Sproul family now facing a life without Harrison, but they draw strength from the incredible impact he made on them all in such a short time.
He will be sadly missed. He will be deeply sadly missed.
He was special. You don't find a kid like that.
Peter Fegan, 7 News.
The driver who ploughed into 14 people at a Greenacre clothes store remains behind bars tonight after a magistrate said he was too much of a risk to the public to be freed. While Sabri Nasser blames the crash on a medical episode, police have now linked him to an earlier road accident.
Nobody disputes Sabri Nasser was the man driving Thursday. Unconscious behind the wheel, his lawyer told court.
Based on our instruction, yes, there was a medical episode.
But after being released, the 51-year-old was re-arrested and charged when detectives linked him to another crash at Lakemba in January.
Literally thought I was done for. Like the speed that he had come at me in reverse, I thought that's it, like it was my time.
Wessam Ibrahim was the alleged victim of a road rage incident.
As I tried to sort away from him and continued on to try to hit me about another 3 or 4 times after that, tried to reverse back into my car.
Police say it was Nasser, enough to charge him over that incident and Greenacre.
Nasser is charged with inflicting actual bodily harm. It attracts only a maximum 2-year jail sentence, much more lenient than inflicting grievous bodily harm. The prosecutor told the court it was only a matter of blind luck. The injuries were not catastrophic.
I can't believe that I'm still sitting here, that I'm still talking to you guys.
Armani Houcher recalls the wall crashing in, bedlam, screaming, and the frantic search for colleagues beneath Nasser's car.
I didn't feel any hatred, I didn't feel fear, I wasn't scared of him.
Magistrate Holly Kemp refused bail, citing an element of predatory behaviour. 2 incidents of a similar nature, troubling conduct indeed. Nasser will make a further bail application, arguing he would spend more time in jail awaiting trial than any prison sentence he could expect. Robert Ovadia, 7 News.
Their stories are astonishing. 2 passengers are the only survivors from a plane crash in Pakistan, one leaping from the Airbus as it came down in a congested neighbourhood in Pakistan. The suburb lies right next to the international runway at Karachi's airport. As the plane came in to land, pilots made a desperate mayday call that 2 engines were gone. Seconds later, they slammed into homes.
Burning, smoke-filled chaos and giant pieces of an Airbus. In the moments after an A320 crashed into this crowded Pakistan alleyway, witnesses, dwarfed by the smoke, were certain there'd be no survivors from Flight 8303. Remarkably, they were wrong. Zafar Massoud, fire still raging behind him, somehow has just fractures and scratches. The local bank president was sitting in row 1. The second survivor, Mohammed Zubair, leapt from seat 8F just after impact. He says when the plane caught fire, he unfastened his seatbelt, saw light and jumped 3 metres to the ground. Then, in the chaos, this, a baby, alive, believed to have been pulled from the rubble of one of several collapsed homes. From the cockpit, the final exchange.
We have lost engines. Mayday, 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 Pakistan 8303.
Survivors say the plane, with 99 people on board, had already aborted one landing. A later flight coming in over the smoking ruins shows just how close they'd come to making it home. This man says he saw the plane's cockpit and the body of the pilot inside. Many of his passengers were headed for a celebration on the eve of the Muslim festival of Eid. Domestic flights had just resumed in the wake of the pandemic. Maintenance will be a focus of the investigation. So too the possibility of a bird strike, notorious at Karachi Airport. They're still searching for the black box. But in a crash of this magnitude, what they do have is almost unheard of. Survivors. Angela Cox, 7 News.
Hygiene marshals, they're the new weapon to ensure the COVID safety of pubs and possibly transport, but there's still confusion about new rules that will apply to hotels as transport unions consider demands for all passengers to wear masks.
Getting plastered at a Sydney pub. Hotels across the city are getting ready for a 5-fold increase in patrons.
The life and breath of a pub, of people.
But the mix of alcohol and a pandemic is a major concern for health authorities.
Is it a strong view that perhaps an amber ale or two might actually further ruin the capacity to keep that 1.5 metres?
But it's still unclear if you can just walk into a pub and buy a beer.
On Monday, we have industry working with us to just fine detail some of those things.
Helping to keep the rules, there'll be a new pub feature, the hygiene marshal.
Is moving through the venue, just engaging with patrons whilst maintaining a social distance to themselves.
Drinkers not following the rules will be kicked out.
We will need to employ someone.
Police will be patrolling to make sure the rules are being followed, but the government says it is relying on individuals to do the right thing, warning the success of the eased restrictions will depend on it.
Marshals are also being considered for public transport, and as the state gears up for Monday's return to school, unions warn.
If there are a reasonable amount of community transmissions taking place, then certainly we would appeal for all passengers to wear masks.
Over the last 24 hours, just under 9,000 tests revealed 3 new cases, all in quarantine, locked down like gyms and beauty parlours. But they're told their opening is imminent.
We haven't been told anything. It's still very unclear for us.
Miley Hogan, 7 News.
There's growing pressure tonight on the federal government to expand the JobKeeper scheme to include more workers after that $60 billion accounting mix-up. Labor says the coalition has lost credibility when it comes to economic management.
Hailing an epic budget blunder.
There's no doubt there's been a real big error here.
As a budget triumph.
In the end, what it means is our country is less indebted than it otherwise would be.
The government's saving $60 billion on its JobKeeper program after overestimating the take-up by 3 million workers.
It's about time this Prime Minister
took responsibility for the errors that are there.
Still no word from Scott Morrison, now under pressure to spend the savings to help workers who missed out.
There's more than 2 million workers who haven't been covered by the scheme. The government's got no more excuses.
Like casuals who've been with their employer for less than a year, staff at universities and foreign-owned companies like in-flight catering service Donata.
Show a heart and give us an opportunity so that we can feed our families.
The government refusing to relent, but pressure to extend the wage subsidies stemming not only from its opponents, but one of its own. Tasmania's Liberal Premier Peter Gutwein claiming the 6-month scheme should be extended for a longer period, targeting additional support at those industries that will take longer to recover. Set to make his case at Friday's National Cabinet meeting, confident other states will follow. This bungle bringing further burden. Olivia Leeming, 7 News.
A woman has fallen to her death from a hotel balcony in the CBD. It happened on the 10th floor Hyatt Regency and Sussex Street just after 8 p.m. A 48-year-old man, known to the victim, was arrested and taken for questioning but has since been released. The 45-year-old is yet to be formally identified. A high-powered, out-of-control ute has crashed into a boat and house at a notorious roundabout near Newcastle. While no one was hurt, it could have been much worse. The P-plater narrowly missing a young boy.
Watch the silver ute as it does a slow-motion fishtail, overcorrecting into catastrophe. The P-plater hit the house so hard it shook, narrowly missing a boy inside.
We looked out the window and there was a car coming straight for us. We just heard bang and then smoke and then we just ran.
With radiator steam hissing, the driver climbs out of the wreck, dazed but unhurt. Breaking more bad news to the homeowner.
The guy reckons he hasn't got insurance, so it's going to be interesting how my house insurance is going to deal with it.
Like fixing the buckled wall right next to where the boy was sitting. The written-off boat with holes in the hull and the trailer now trash.
A few inches the wrong way, he could have literally had either the boat trailer frame or the box trailer frame literally through his windscreen.
Here's another crash from the same roundabout. Locals say there's about one each week.
Part of second nature, it's just, watch out for idiots.
A job made a lot easier by having 4 street cameras installed. Taylor Aiken, 7 News.
Britain has rejected Australia's request to be exempt from new quarantine rules, forcing visitors to the UK into 14 days of self-isolation. The scheme won't kick in until the 8th of June, months after our borders were closed. The British government's faced criticism for not acting sooner. The country's death toll has now soared above 36,000. It's been taken by Donald Trump and trialled as a virus prevention here in Australia, but now the anti-malaria drug hydroxychloroquine is being linked to an increased risk of death in COVID patients. It's the finding of a new global study, but America's president had something else on his mind, sending the faithful back to church.
Speaking directly to some of his most ardent supporters.
Some governors have deemed liquor stores and abortion clinics as essential, but have left out churches and other houses of worship. It's not right.
Ordering states allow places of worship to reopen.
If they don't do it, I will override the governors. In America, we need more prayer, not less.
Honestly, that would be reckless. It's Friday. They're not ready.
Donald Trump not stopping for questions, leaving it to his press secretary to spar with reporters.
Boy, it's interesting to be in a room that desperately wants to seem to see these churches and houses of worship stay closed.
I object to that. I mean, I go to church. I'm dying to go back to church. The question that we're asking you and would like to have asked the President and Dr. Birx is it safe?
Washington, D.C. now has the highest rate of positive coronavirus cases in the country, followed by Baltimore, Chicago and Minneapolis.
And the precautionary drug the president's taking to stay safe is tonight under more scrutiny after a sweeping study found hydroxychloroquine
could be lethal in COVID patients.
Findings published in a medical journal showed patients who took the anti-malarial drug were 34% more likely to die, 137% increased risk of heart arrhythmia. The US military confident America can deliver a vaccine this year.
I've spoken to our medical experts about this. We are completely confident that we can get this done.
In New York, Ashley Mullaney, 7 News.
Australia's most senior Olympic official remains confident Brisbane can be a successful bidder for the 2032 Games. The Queensland government has put its bid on hold as the country deals with the ongoing health crisis. Australian Olympic Committee President John Coates says it is the right call in the current climate.
As soon as the three levels of government say we're ready, then we'll increase the dialogue again. We'll resume the dialogue with the IOC and get cracking.
And the AOC boss remains confident the postponed Tokyo Games will go ahead next year. Mammoth swells and gale force winds have thrashed New South Wales, creating a spectacular sight along our coastline. Die-hard surfers were quick to grab their boards and make the most of the monster waves, some reaching up to 5 metres.
An east coast low whipping up monster swells along our coastline. From Newcastle to the south coast and Sydney, a surfers' playground. Big waves and bigger wipeouts.
This time of year in winter, it happens, but it only happens a few times a year.
Simon Wilcox among a group of surfers off Coogee where big waves were the least of their problems.
There was just a big shark that just kind of swam around us, so we all thought, call it quits and paddle in.
Just some guys saw it out there and thought it was time to come in after seeing that.
The condition's the result of an intense low-pressure system sitting off the coast.
We are seeing this affecting quite a large amount of the coastline, all the way from the south coast, all the way up towards the Hunter coastline as well.
A hazardous surf warning is in place with warnings for boating and rock fishing. Thankfully, for now, the northern beaches have escaped any erosion. The system currently sitting in the Tasman won't move out to sea until early next week, meaning waves like these will again be on offer tomorrow.
Easing as we move towards Monday, though all across the New South Wales coastline, the conditions over those beach zones are still going to be hazardous.
It's a rare chance to sort of pull a board this big out. It's a lot of fun.
Cameron Price, 7 News.
Sally Barry joins us now. So, good evening. Aside from that surf, are things going to improve from here on in?
Well, Michael, we're in for some more wet weather, although the bulk of it will be along the coast. It's all thanks to this intense low that's just sitting off the east coast at the moment. That system is going to stay firmly planted, affecting the swell until around Tuesday with 5-metre waves forecast. It'll also push some showers into Sydney. Today we only saw a light splash or two around Penrith and Badgerys Creek, 1 millimetre there. Looking ahead, though, we could see around 10 to 15 millimetres over the next 3 days across parts of Sydney. The wettest suburbs will be those ones right along the coast, with Bondi and Cronulla set to see up to 20 millimetres on Tuesday alone. Right now, though, temperatures are hovering around that 15-degree mark at Cronulla, a little bit cooler at Parramatta, 13 degrees at the moment. I'll tell you when the weather will warm up with the 7-day forecast a little later, Michael.
All right, we'll look forward to that, Sally. Thank you. Police have taken down a clandestine lab operating in Western Sydney after the break. The moment officers stormed the industrial unit and what they found inside. A factory destroyed, residents evacuated. Now the arson investigation into a St Peter's inferno. Hertz files for bankruptcy in the US. What that means for its Australian operation. The handbrake turn to avoid getting caught. How did this LA chase end? We'll show you. And soon in sport, we'll go round the grounds for the very latest, just days before the NRL season resumes.
Getting my house renovated is like a golden ticket to the rest of your life.
Oh, this is the house of our dreams.
Mum's Whole House Reveal. House Rules, Sunday at 7.
You bring the family, we'll fetch the entertainment. Get the things you love to watch with a Fetch Box. With one simple menu and one remote. You'll need your TV, antenna, broadband, and a Fetch Mini or Mighty Box. Enjoy free-to-air TV live or later, recorded up to 6 shows at once on a Mighty Box or via catch-up. Stream your Netflix, Stan, Amazon Prime Video and YouTube to your TV. Buy TV shows or movies on demand, thousands of them, with all the latest releases. Add $6 channel packs, kids, knowledge, vibe, variety, or get over 45 channels in the Ultimate Pack to watch at home or on the go. Get Fetch from our partners or buy a box to use with any internet provider. TV, streaming, channels and movies. All your entertainment in one place. Fetch, we bring it.
Does your energy provider chip in for your internet? Dodo does. Yep, we're an energy company and an internet company, which is why you get unlimited data on our NBN 50 plan for just $60 a month when you also get electricity and gas. Switch at dodo.com.
I drive a lot. I build stuff, pull things, push things, and I hit things. And then I carry stuff.
What do you do again?
I drive a Hilux.
Australia's #1 selling vehicle, 4 years running. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale is on now. Save on a great range of quality furniture for a limited time. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale on now.
Little things add up in retirement. Are you confident you can pay for them? Using part of your super or savings, invest in a Challenger lifetime annuity and you'll enjoy guaranteed income for life. Find out more at challenger.com.au.
In the game of tennis, we've learnt that it's hard to predict what will happen next. But when you turn 50, you can be a little more certain. If you're aged between 50 and 74, the government will send you a free bowel cancer screening test every 2 years. Why? Because if bowel cancer is detected early, it can be successfully treated in more than 90% of cases. So, do the test and stay ahead of the game.
JB stores are open for business for the hottest deals on home entertainment. Like this Hisense 75-inch 4K smart TV for $19.95. And stock up on movies and TV shows with buy one, get one free on Blu-ray and 4K. Buy in-store, online, click and collect or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
Sunsuper's stress-tested investment strategies have delivered returns that have beaten the industry average over 3, 5, 7 and 10 years. Join our 1.4 million members and feel the strength of Sunsuper.
Police have seized almost 2 kilograms of cocaine worth an estimated $675,000 on the street at a makeshift drug lab in Western Sydney. Officers also found $100,000 in cash at the Seven Hills Industrial Unit, as well as mobile phones and chemicals used to manufacture large quantities of drugs. 2 33-year-old men were charged and face Parramatta Court today. An inferno that destroyed 2 St Peters businesses, including a popular motorbike repairer, may have been deliberately lit. The blaze forced surrounding homes to be evacuated after toxic chemicals sparked explosions.
A ball of fire and black smoke over the inner west as a St Peters motorbike shop goes up in flames. The inferno lighting up the night sky.
There was a lot of explosions coming from inside the warehouse.
Firefighters evacuating locals with fears the blaze would spread to nearby homes before crews tackled the situation head on.
Just stay at the doorway, lads.
Somehow stopping the spread, the damage confined to the one warehouse. The 2 businesses inside, though, completely destroyed.
I looked at my work and, yeah, it's gone. Probably about $1 million worth of bike saved.
Fire investigators have spent the day sifting through the debris, trying to work out what started the blaze. At this stage, they can't rule out the possibility it was deliberately lit.
We won't rule anything in or out at this stage. Any of the public that does have CCTV on their dash cam or properties, we do ask to contact Crime Stoppers.
Cameron Price, 7 News.
The car rental giant Hertz has filed for bankruptcy protection in the United States, describing travel restrictions during this pandemic as a rapid, sudden and dramatic hit. It is saddled with around $29 billion in debt, but the Chapter 11 filing means it can continue operating while devising a strategy to turn the business around. Now, Hertz says business continues as usual in Australia and New Zealand, while admitting revenue has been deeply impacted by travel restrictions. A cowboy and a stolen ute led police on a wild chase through Los Angeles. He headed the wrong way on a highway, hitting someone head-on before charging on. He managed to dodge police road spikes at the last second before finding himself blocked in and burning rubber.
Well, look at those. Look at this. He's ramming that vehicle, going back and forth. Now he's going to escalate this, pick up some more speed, slam into this car.
He got out of that too. A crowd cheering him on as one of the tyres fell off. Eventually, the car was in such bad shape, the robbers made a run for it. Both were caught within a few seconds. This weekend is the Salvation Army's annual Red Shield appeal, usually the country's biggest door-knock fundraiser. But this year, there's clearly had to be some change, and now the Salvos have found a different way to rattle up donations.
I see the need every day. But we're in it for the long haul.
For 55 years, the annual Red Shield Appeal has helped the Salvation Army help vulnerable Australians. But this weekend, they won't be knocking on your door or rattling tins.
It's all had to go digital.
For the first time, they're calling for donations via digital door knocking.
This year, there is an even greater need, as our country has faced two great crises simultaneously.
In addition to their bushfire relief fundraiser, in the past year the Salvos have cared for more than 1 million people, helped 46,000 homeless and supported 13,000 family violence victims. But COVID is expected to make this year the toughest in the Salvos' history.
This year's appeal will remind us that there are people that we are needing to help that we've never had to help before.
The Minderoo Foundation, run by Andrew and Nicola Forrest, is pledging $500,000 and matching public donations up to the same amount.
If you give $5, we'll make it $10. If you give $20, we'll make it $40.
The Salvation Army's fundraising approach may have changed, but their target for this weekend's appeal hasn't. They're hoping to raise $8 million over 2 days, $35 million by the end of June. And while they understand for many money is tight, they're asking the community to give what they can.
Even if that's a small amount or we have the capacity to give in a larger way, every little bit's going to make a difference.
Amber Laidler, 7 News.
Residents in our south last night thought a fire had taken hold at a chemical plant coming up. Why this flare had people fearing the worst. What led to the death of a teenager who fell from a 4th floor unit. The Target stores that will close for good is your local branch on the list. The new app helping anxious asthma sufferers breathe a little easier. That's all next.
I'm your dad. Why'd you choose now to come and find me? You're just taking me for a ride.
When he finds out the true reason his dad's here, it could break his heart.
You need to tell him what's going on. If you don't tell him, I will.
Home and Away, next week on 7.
Why do you come? Why do you come? Pleasures all mine, never getting old. If you're looking for me, I'll be dancing in my own way.
The stylish Haval H2, a globally engineered, European-designed and feature-packed SUV. From just $22,990 drive away, Haval H2 Auto. New car thinking.
Wish you had internet that didn't let you down, that doesn't leave you hanging, and won't have you missing any of the action? Get Vodafone NBN with 4G backup. Plans start from just $55 a month. And with free express delivery, connect instantly once you receive it. Buy online today at vodafone.com.au. Ready?
The Nick Scali Autumn Sale is on now. Save on a great range of quality furniture for a limited time. The Nick Scali Autumn Sale on now.
With over 25 million instant scratch its wins last year, it can happen anywhere, anytime. Play today.
Boost your daily well-being with Healthy Care in a new look with the same trusted quality and care available from Chemist Warehouse. Try Healthy Care Vitamin D3 1000 IU. It's a convenient daily dose which may help improve calcium absorption in bones and supports immune system health. It's only $7.74. Also try Healthy Care Propolis 2000, rich in flavonoids and antioxidants which help maintain general health and immunity, and it's now $14.94. Healthy Care Vitamins, new look, same trusted quality and care.
A teenager has fallen to his death during a drug-fuelled party on the Gold Coast. The 19-year-old was found around 3 a.m. after falling from a fourth-floor unit. Inside, police found a group of teens aged between 16 and 19, barely conscious. It is understood they'd taken prescription drugs. 4 needed hospital treatment. Target has confirmed its Campbelltown store is one of the 20 in New South Wales that will close over the next year. The majority of stores heading for shutdown are in regional centres, including Armidale, Wagga Wagga and Nowra. Another 13 New South Wales stores will convert to Kmart in early 2021. They include Bega, Katoomba and Picton. Target says it needs to adapt in these difficult times. Customers, they say, can continue to shop online. Living with asthma is hard enough, but for many teenagers, the fear of an attack is sometimes worse than the actual condition. Research has found that they're twice as likely to experience anxiety and depression. Now, though, a new augmented reality app is aiming to ease their fears.
14-year-old Jackson Byrne has had asthma his whole life, and the fear of an attack takes its toll.
Sometimes it can happen like really fast and you just kind of stress out and everything's just crazy.
I think it's not knowing where it's going to come from, when it's going to strike, what's going to kind of set it off is the anxiety around it.
Children with asthma are twice as likely to develop anxiety or depression symptoms at the same time. 1 in 7 Australian children aged between 4 and 17 will experience a mental health condition in any given year, but only 20% of kids who could benefit from treatment are accessing it. But UniSA researchers hope to show that augmented reality can help. Similar to the technology used in popular games like Pokemon Go, they'll be using booklets that young people can scan with their mobile phones, which will bring up different types of cognitive and behavioural therapies in an interactive way.
It is really interesting and it's really engaging and fun for young people. So we're hoping that that might be an avenue for them to get involved with the therapy.
The study will target 13 to 17-year-olds with symptoms of anxiety and asthma. It's hoped the technology will motivate them to engage with the therapy for longer.
If people can tackle those psychological factors involved with asthma, it may be able to reduce their symptoms of asthma.
Elise Baker, 7 News.
Locals around Botany Bay were alarmed by what they feared was a large fire last night, but the bright red glow, there it is, around 11 p.m. at Banks Meadow was in fact an industrial flare set off from the former ICI chemical site. Qenos, which now runs the site, says the flare-up was to release a build-up of emissions. Boris Johnson's under pressure to sack his chief advisor, who's being investigated by police for breaking the government's coronavirus rules. Dominic Cummings drove across the country while infected to stay with his elderly parents.
For months, the slogan couldn't have been any clearer, emblazoned on buildings and bus stops, repeated constantly at daily media briefings.
We need everyone to stay at home.
We're instructing people to stay at home.
You must stay at home.
But the Prime Minister's chief advisor ignored his own memo. Dominic Cummings was the architect of Boris's Brexit strategy. He had coronavirus symptoms in the first week of lockdown, sick the same time as his boss. Downing Street said Cummings was self-isolating at his London home, but instead he drove more than 400 kilometres to his elderly parents' property with his wife and child. Neighbours called police.
And if it's true that Dominic Cummings has deliberately breached the guidelines and he should know what they were, then I think it's a resigning matter.
He's not the first to flout the rules. Scotland's chief medical officer resigned in April after twice visiting her holiday home, and a top UK government advisor nicknamed Professor Lockdown quit after meeting with his married lover. Now the PM's right-hand man could join them.
I don't think he is secure in his position, however influential he is in this government. And let's be clear, he is the most influential person in this government, apart from the Prime Minister.
In London, Sarah Greenacre, 7 News.
There's renewed hope in the fight against breast cancer. Coming up, the Australian researchers and their potential breakthrough that could stop it coming back. A meteor or something man-made, the flash of light that had people excited, plus the divers who came very close to this shark.
And we haven't seen the end of the wet weather. Sydney's forecast soon.
Hello, Zoe. I have been watching you.
Here we go. I'm a mum of 2. If you haven't had things under your nail and wondered if it's Nutella or poo, then you're not a mum. I am a woodwork teacher.
I am Big Brother, and I have chosen you. You're used to taking charge, but in here, it's me who's in charge. Are you ready for what I have planned?
I'm about as subtle as a brick in the face.
I am Big Brother. Who wins? You decide.
With McDelivery, Macca's comes to you contact-free. Get free delivery every weekend on Macca's orders $25 or more via the Uber Eats app. Visit Macca's social pages for this weekend's promo code.
More home loan brokers with more ways to help you, giving you even more reasons to smile wherever you are. Talk to me or your broker today.
At UE, we're all about how you use or don't use your car. So we're giving our clients and new clients temporary relief on their car insurance premiums if they're using their cars less right now. Go to UE.com.au. UE, you insured.
Dyson's most powerful intelligent vacuum now comes in a larger format, a 25% wider cleaner head and a 150% bigger bin. Only a Dyson works like a Dyson.
Beat the cold at Harvey Norman with the best in heating and air treatment solutions. Stay warm this winter with our range of ceramic, radiant and fan heaters, convection, column and panel heaters, the latest in gas and electric flame effect models, heated throws and electric blankets, plus a huge range of reverse cycle air conditioners. Treat the air quality in your home with everything from air purifiers to humidifiers. Harvey Norman has all the big brands at great prices. Visit us in store or online. Harvey Norman, your heating and air treatment specialist.
Go! At Spotlight's winter home sale, cozy up with 40 to 50% off all quilt cover sets, 40% off all sheets, 30% off all wall decorations, so you can shake it, throw it and update it for less. Sale on now. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
In the universe, stars are born every day. Just like in Compton, Western Victoria, where for over 93 years, we've created not just butter, but a star. Western Star. More than butter.
It's tax time. Stimulate your business now. Check your business's eligibility for the government instant asset write-off. Purchases made before June 30. The Ram 1500 pickup truck, eats utes for breakfast.
A vaccine against breast cancer is being developed by a team of Australian researchers in what has been called a potential game changer. While the jab wouldn't stop someone developing the disease, it could prevent it returning by prompting the patient's immune system to recognise and kill cancer cells. It is hoped the breakthrough could eventually be used for other common cancers. Our swimmers had an incredibly close encounter with a shark off Perth. Dean Chili was diving off Rottnest Island when this large grey nurse approached and swam right over his head. It may have been a little too close for comfort, but it did give Dean a spectacular look at the shark's rows of teeth. A Russian rocket has lit up the night sky over southern Australia as it re-entered the Earth's atmosphere. The dazzling spectacle caught thousands of people by surprise, with many fearing they were watching a plane crash.
A blaze of fire in the night sky. So unusual, some witnesses feared an aeroplane had exploded.
It was just one round ball and it was like bright red and orange.
Others suspected it was a meteorite, but experts say it was travelling too slowly and the burning arc was too fast to be a comet.
What we actually saw was a late-stage rocket that put a Russian satellite into orbit.
A Russian military satellite which launched yesterday.
It may have been a satellite to be able to detect the launch of ballistic missiles on Earth.
The fiery space junk lit up the sky for around 40 seconds last night, spotted by lucky stargazers in Victoria, New South Wales, Canberra, South Australia and even Tasmania. Many witnesses reported hearing a sonic boom as the rocket re-entered the Earth's atmosphere, leading astronomers to believe it was travelling at Mach 1 speed, more than 1,200 kilometres an hour.
We would see something like that if we're fortunate enough to be outside looking up and the sky was clear, perhaps 2 or 3 times a year.
Great thing to be able to experience and watch.
Space junk rarely makes it to Earth, with only 2 injuries ever reported. Christy Mayer, 7 News.
It is the tourist attraction tens of millions of years in the making, from an Australian-first stars observatory to walking with the dinosaurs. Your first look at the draw card taking shape in our Outback. Don't miss that story soon here on 7 News. But first, Jim's here with sport. Jim, good evening to you.
G'day,
Jimmy,
Michael.
The Jet is back.
I wish I had that as a nickname, but this Jim's dreaming on, Michael. Good evening to you, evening everyone. It's a terrific story. This coming up, our cameras are at South's training today for the return of James Jimmy the Jet Roberts from rehab. These pictures are next. Plus, Cody Walker joins his Bunnies teammates at Redfern, but he'll miss 2 crucial matches. We'll also have the latest from the Roosters and the Warriors. And the emergency that halted racing in Brisbane this afternoon, while the rising star of the turf was upstaged in a thriller. That's next.
Hear that? It's the sound of your new escape. Visit the most relaxing new getaways.
It's beautiful.
Find the lifestyle you've always dreamt of.
I can see myself here at home.
Here's to you and your new life. New Escape to the Country, tonight on 7/2.
If you're experiencing abuse or domestic violence, contact 1-800-RESPECT for free, confidential advice and counselling, online and by phone 24/7. There's no place for abuse or domestic violence. Help is here. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Someone's saving on kitchen stuff from eBay.
Yeah, that's where I get all my essentials from. Just magically turns up on my door.
Ooh. And how do you think that happens?
I don't know.
Shut up and take my money.
Dad!
Oh, sorry.
Just wait.
It's funny.
Dad!
Yeah. Party purpose.
Shh. Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
Having a home to feel safe in has never felt more important. And with home loan know-how from your local Rams home loan specialist, we can help you feel supported every step of the way. Rams, greater together.
Sun Super's stress-tested investment strategies have delivered returns that have beaten the industry average over 3, 5, 7 and 10 years. Join our 1.4 million members and feel the strength of Sun Super.
Olay was put to the ultimate MRI test. The MRI proved Olay intensely hydrates your skin for a plumper, firmer and more radiant glow. See the results in 28 days. Olay.
The power's in your hands and at your feet. The BMW 320i sedan from 69,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
At 7 p.m, states at war over travel bans. The race for a vaccine sparks global tensions and the next wave of jobs that don't yet exist. That's the latest from 7 News at 7.
Welcome back, everyone. South Sydney's challenging pre-season build-up, having to deal with several off-field scandals, got a much-needed boost today. As the Bunnies prepare for Premier's The Roosters on Friday night at Bankwest Stadium, James Roberts was a welcome sight on the training track.
Back at Redfern Oval, after passing a coronavirus test and leaving a rehab facility to treat mental health, this is where James Roberts thrives. Jimmy the Jet looks ready for takeoff again, and playing footy's what he needs most. Souths won't dispute Cody Walker's 2-game suspension for the fight in Casino, but they've asked the NRL for clarification over the $20,000 fine for not reporting the incident to the Integrity Unit. The Roosters can't wait to face their arch rivals instead of training with a lean, mean Jared Wairia-Hargreaves.
He's looking good, isn't he? I've got a couple of elbows to the throat, so they're the nice little incidental contacts that you need to get, especially from him.
But Lindsay Collins will take that over the carpentry work he's been doing back home in Brisbane.
Digging holes, doing a lot of footings and stuff like that definitely makes you appreciate the game a lot more.
Nobody sacrificed more than warrior Peta Hiku, who's left a newborn son in New Zealand.
I think what made it easier for myself was my partner was forcing me out of the house. Anyway, she sort of understood the situation we were doing.
It could have been for nothing if the referees didn't drop their industrial dispute. Peter Volandis bypassed their union rep and went straight to the refs.
The end to this dispute was brought about by the referees themselves.
The chairman's promised to back them in return, but it doesn't mean a free pass for bad mistakes.
There's not much point trying to pretend that something didn't happen if the whole world can see that it did happen.
So from Thursday night, it's back to one referee in charge. Matt Carmichael, 7 News.
3 players who refuse pay cuts have been banished by Rugby Australia. Wallaby Isaac Rodder and Rising Stars Isaac Lucas and Harry Hockings are set to fight their sackings in court. 189 players agreed to pay cuts, but the Reds trio rebelled.
They've made their decision, and if they wish to go overseas, then that's their decision. There's no avenue open to them in Australia at this time.
Other players tempted to follow them have been warned. Unions in nations like Japan face similar financial turmoil to Australia. The A-League faces another major hurdle to completing the season, with players reacting angrily to planned 80% pay cuts. Many contracts expire in just over a week, as the FFA faces a logistical nightmare to resume. Now, the boss of the English Premier League denies they've put wealth before health by restarting training.
We wouldn't have taken the first step to go back to training if we weren't convinced that we had created a very safe environment for our players to go back to.
6 players and staff tested positive for coronavirus on Tuesday, but they're still confident of playing again by mid-June. Well, the Premier League boss pointed to Germany's Bundesliga as proof it can be done. With fans restricted to restaurants, the Olympic Stadium was deserted for this morning's Berlin derby. The players united for a tribute to fans before Hertha Berlin. Korea's K-League continues under strict conditions for players and mascots. Former Sydney FC star Brandon O'Neill started for Pohang Steelers last night, but they lost 2-1 to FC Seoul at home. There was a delay on the opening day of the Brisbane Racing Carnival, with the course evacuated due to a bomb scare. Police ordered the race meeting to be halted. When it resumed, the Chris Waller-trained Canane was upstaged.
An 8-week makeover finally back to headquarters, but it wasn't the return nervous Queensland power brokers envisaged.
It has been eventful. We did have a police operation delay the races for close to an hour.
Still, the bomb scare couldn't shake strictly enforced biosecurity protocols, measures which have ensured the sport has proceeded across the mainland. There'll be only 2 Group 1s in this diluted carnival. Glamour 2-year-olds Rothfire and Isotope are leading contenders for one of them.
Rothfire in front. Isotope now starts to hit top gear. No! Rothfire going brilliantly.
I think he's beat a couple of pretty good horses there, so he stamps himself now as he's right up there.
In fact, the gelding's now favourite for the JJ Atkins. Doubtless Heathcote relieved this colt is staying in Sydney.
But Pelter protects his unbeaten record. That's 3 out of 3.
Trainer Gerald Ryan opting to target spring riches with Pelter. The picture is clear for Queensland's premier sprint, the Stradbroke, after today's Victory Stakes.
Victorium shot to the lead. Deep Image tries hard. Nicanova flying. Victorium won the victory.
Jenny Graham's 5-year-old now a real Stradbroke fancy in the Gunsynd Classic Punters Charge for Chris Waller's boom horse, Canane, but he finished third.
Supergiant in front. Ballistic Boy trying hard. Supergiant, Ballistic Boy, photo finish.
Supergiant got it, gifting jockey Alan Chow his biggest win. Pat Welch, 7 News.
Well, one of Australian cricket's forgotten men is plotting his way back, but also planning for the future. Blues guns Curtis Patterson and a new look Jack Edwards have used their time off to get stuck into their study with Swinburne Online.
It's been a great reality check. I was saying to my mum the other day, it's been really nice just to slow down a bit.
Patterson's 2 tests included a classic catch and an unbeaten ton in early 2019 before injury stalled his career last summer.
I think that just really builds the hunger. I think I'm good enough. I was lucky enough to score some runs early on, so I've been able to get over that mental barrier.
That Swinburne Online, by the way, is that Swinburne University course. Just 26 years of age, by the way. Patterson has plenty of time. They return to training this week. And the Edwards family can't wait to have Jack and Mickey out of the house. Fair enough. Serena Williams has lost her crown as the biggest earner in women's sport. 22-year-old Naomi Osaka raked in a lazy $57 million, everyone, last year, a new record for the highest earning year by any female athlete. Now, winning the 2019 Australian Open helped, but most of the Japanese stars' money came from 15 rich sponsorship deals. Osaka is ranked 29th overall in the Forbes list of the 100 richest sports people. Yeah, she's currently ranked number 10 in the world. She reached number 1 last year after that great success at the Australian Open. 57 million, Michael.
15 deals, not bad in this environment too.
To go past Serena and even Maria Sharapova in her heights of her power. 5 more sleeps, everyone, and the footy is back. Rugby League, AFL June 11, but gee, I can't wait for the Broncos and Eels on Thursday night.
It's going to be good.
Yeah.
So what do you reckon the canned laughter the AFL's talking about in the stands? It's going to work?
I noticed that with the Bundesliga.
Yeah,
you know what? I don't mind it. Bit of atmos. Just bring on the live sport.
Indeed. All right, good on you, Jim. Thanks, you.
Mate. Okay.
Well, when we think of our outback, it is easy to imagine a dusty red landscape of bounding kangaroos and emus in full stride. Harder to imagine, though, dinosaurs roaming our vast backyard. But after some incredible discoveries, 2 new mega creations are taking shape in Queensland to help us walk in the enormous footprints of titanosaurs.
As dawn breaks over the land of the dinosaurs and the day's first light reaches the central west, work is already underway. David Elliott founded the Australian Age of Dinosaurs in 2009. This is stage 3.
It's going to look like this big meteorite and a big crater around it, and then we'll have all our big telescopes.
An observatory atop Australia's first dark sky sanctuary, one of only 10 in the world.
And the darker the sky, the brighter the stars.
And alongside it, an exhibition unlike any other.
Yeah, well, that's the March of Titanosaurs building. Inside is the dinosaur trackway.
Preserved sauropod footprints from the late Cretaceous period.
The back foot and the front foot.
Uncovered in a creek bed at Corula, 100 kilometres from here.
We knew it wasn't going to last any more than the first flood, so there's a bit of a rush to get the first bits out, which we did before those big floods last year. We beat it by a week.
Carefully removed and reconstructed over the past 2 years, an 80-metre long prehistoric jigsaw puzzle.
It's just amazing to see where this huge dinosaur has walked through.
To be guarded by 2 life-sized sauropods cast in bronze.
And that's something that will be recognised all over the world.
It was supposed to be finished in September.
Until COVID-19 turned up.
So, with no visitors, tour guides have become tradies.
I got them in there on jackhammers last week and shoveling and stuff like that. They love it.
It's hard to imagine what this all looked like 95 million years ago when dinosaurs roamed the region. But when this exhibition is finished, it will allow visitors from around the world to step back in time. It's hoped construction will be complete by April next year. And David's dream doesn't end there.
Eventually the new museum will be a little bit further back.
Leaving his own mark in the Australian outback. Mac Lyon, 7 News.
Well, here's a bit of cuteness for your Saturday night. 3 orphan Tassie devils looking very sweet, wrapped in a pink towel. The Wrigley Joeys certainly are not camera shy, putting on a little bit of a show for their carers. Christopher, Callie and Wish are being cared for at the Bonnarong Wildlife Sanctuary. That's in southeast Tasmania. Sally's back now. Sal, good evening again. What's in store for the rest of the weekend?
Well, Michael, it'll be cool and damp along the coast tonight. It's 14 degrees in the city right now, but things will improve next week. The forecast next.
Getting my house renovated is like a golden ticket to the rest of your life.
We're here.
We're here. Let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Right.
Oh. This isn't our house.
Oh my God.
In the transformation of the year.
This is the house of our dreams.
Oh my God.
It's all for Mum.
Oh my goodness. It's so different.
I think this is probably the best bathroom we've seen on House Rules.
They will do their best reno yet.
There's so much to see. I can't take it all in.
It'll be the Hampton-style home of her dreams.
I love everything. Things I never thought I'd happen. And I'll be forever grateful. I don't deserve this. This is just... It's too much for one person to have. Amazing, memorable. Wow, thank you. Just doesn't seem enough. A part of you will always be in the house with us forever.
Mum's dream home will be revealed on House Rules on 7. The unmissable whole house reveal, Sunday at 7.
Geeks to you saved my life.
Actually, I just saved all these photos. This PC had a virus.
Geeks to you set up, synced up and sorted out my world.
Well, her IT world at least.
With our new improved download speed, we're streaming every night.
Is there no end to their problem-solving powers?
If there is a problem we can't fix, you don't pay.
They may be geeks to you, but they're miracle workers to me.
Call 1300 Geeks to You and we'll come to you.
During the Nick Scarley autumn sale, the contemporary timber Aches dining table was $17.90, now $11.90. That's a great saving on quality furniture. Only at Nick Scarley on now.
Physical distancing is working, so let's keep it up.
Moving forward, rules may change, but staying 1.5 metres apart will continue.
By doing this together, we'll stop the spread and we will save lives.
Bye. Shut up and take my money.
The Beacon Frenzy sale is now on with 20% off all lights and fans. Update your home this winter and get 20% off every single light and fan this week only. Hurry, the Beacon Frenzy sale ends Sunday.
Save on the Samsung Galaxy S20 5G on Australia's best 5G. Find out more in-store or online by June 30.
It doesn't matter where you're going if you enjoy getting there. The BMW X1 S-Drive 18i from 49,900 drive away. Joy is coming.
At 7 p.m, states go to battle over border closures, the serial killer experts predicting pandemics and how coronavirus is affecting our dreams. The latest from 7 News next.
Busy peak hour. Chatswood Station. She races for the train. Tries to stop the doors closing. Trapping her arm. Dragging her. See how quick thinking saved her life. The extraordinary pictures. Exclusively on 7 News, Monday.
Tonight's 7 News headlines. A Picton family is mourning the death of Harrison Sproul, a cheeky and adventurous boy killed in an accident yesterday. The driver who slammed his car into a Greenacre shop has been refused bail, charged with road rage. A baby's been pulled out of the rubble after a plane crashed into homes in Pakistan, and die-hard Sydney surfers have taken advantage of some huge swells. And Sally's back now. So we haven't seen the last of those big seas.
No, that's right. Huge seas, Michael, will continue to pound the shorelines until around Tuesday with a deep low planted off the east coast. Today, though, we reached a top of 17 degrees in the city after a low this morning of 11 around Sydney suburbs. It was cloudy and cool along the coast today. Just a spit of rain this afternoon. Totals were very small, around 1 mil at Penrith and Badgerys Creek. Let's have a look at that intense low pressure system, which is generating all that huge surf along the coast. It is expected to stay put for at least another 2 or 3 days, with 5-metre swells and dangerous surf forecast right into Monday. Now, the low will also continue bringing just that southerly swell into parts of eastern Victoria and also start to affect just that northeastern corner of New South Wales, with more showers expected over the next handful of days. Having a look at the capital cities for tomorrow, and Perth can expect some very squally weather. We have a storm front pushing through with tops of 20 degrees expected on the west coast. Mostly fine though in the east. Brisbane heading for mostly sunny skies, 22 degrees, and it will be cool in Hobart, a top of 12. Zooming into New South Wales tomorrow, hazardous surf is the big story. 5-metre swell expected, including for Newcastle, Sydney, Wollongong, the Entrance and Ulladulla. Also some showers just along the mid-north coast and some early fog for the central tablelands. Across Sydney, windy will be the story in Cronulla. Showers forecast there. Should be partly cloudy though in Liverpool, a top of 18 degrees, while it will be overcast and cool in Parramatta, heading for a top of just 17 tomorrow. Not a great day on the water. Hazardous conditions are forecast, while the city tonight will drop to 13 degrees. We've got showers on the way tomorrow, windy weather expected as well, and a top of 18 degrees for our Sunday. Looking ahead, staying wet and windy on Monday, 18. Large surf still on Tuesday, another 10 to 15 millimetres expected along the coast. The wet weather will clear on Wednesday though, tops of 21 degrees. Thursday looking mostly fine. It looks like we'll see dry weather for the remainder of the week. So the wild surf will be the big story still for the next couple of days, Michael.
Well, indeed. All right, so thank you for that. And that is 7 News for this Saturday. The latest with Mel Doyle is next. I'm Michael Asher from all the team here. Thank you so much for your company. Have a great Saturday night.
Tonight,